absolutely egregious. And even you had some folks on the left trying to come out early and defend this behavior and compare it to an image of Marjorie Taylor Greene and myself who were chanting "Build the Wall," while all other Republicans were chanting the same phrase. And they just got that one image and acted like we completely disrupted the State of the Union. But Al Green was given multiple opportunities to stand down, to sit down, to behave, to show decorum, and he did not. For him to go and shake his pimp cane at President Trump was absolutely abhorrent.
All right, put it up full mass. Hell of a thing. Let's get into it. Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert falsely claimed that Texas Representative Al Green confronted President Donald Trump with a pimp cane during his joint address to Congress. This was last week. Despite her past outbursts, Boebert insisted that her actions were not comparable to Representative Green's. Boebert decided to go on these notorious public antics have been widely reported. In 2028, the date where she was kicked out of a performance of Beetlejuice the musical. We all remember that, after she was caught vaping and openly groping a male. As security escorted her out of the location, she reportedly snapped, quote, "Do you know who I am?" Question mark. Last year, Boebert found herself under criminal investigation in connection with the alleged physical fight with her ex-husband. This was at a restaurant in her own district, according to reports citing the police in Colorado. Meanwhile, House Democratic leaders have reportedly been meeting privately with members who heckled President Donald Trump during his address to a joint session of Congress on Tuesday. The publication noted a letter issued by House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat of New York, before Trump's speech that implored colleagues to maintain, quote, a dignified democratic presence during the address. Sources told Axios that those who heckled Trump or walked out of the speech and protest were given a talking to about their tactics. Keep his picture up for a minute. I've been down with this brother, except at this point. They did, sir, what they believed was necessary to do to launch a vocal and verbal protest against the current criminal in chief. If you believe everything that you have said about this current commander in chief, then you should have been doing the very same thing. It's difficult for me to understand the contextualization of a man by saying he is a criminal, he is illegitimate, he's corrupt, he is unconstitutional, he is a tyrant, and he's a wannabe dictator, does not respect the powers that be. How could you not protest that leader? The institution of the presidency is not sacred. The people who put you there, the voters, are the ones who are sacred. Never forget that. 10 Democrats actually voted with Republicans, if you remember, to penalize Representative Green, a handful at that. Obviously, I disagree with those Democrats. Okay, all right. Yasmin, thoughts on this?
This is kind of an insane story. Whenever Green was removed from the president's address for speaking out or heckling during the speech, my first thought was this has happened before, specifically with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, and the response was not nearly as dramatic or acute as perhaps it should have been. Of all people, right. Lauren Boebert should not be commenting on the public conduct of anyone, let alone another congressperson, let alone in Congress. And I think that's all I need to say on that. I don't think I need to explain that any further. You already went into it. But the Democrats are constantly disappointing right? They're moving to a more centrist platform, even though they got spanked so hard in the last election. They're unwilling to make the changes that the American people actually want to see. We have Nancy Pelosi, who is going for her 21st term in Congress. Finally, there is someone who is more progressive who is trying to unseat her, but the likelihood of him winning is slim, even though it really shouldn't be. Left-leaning news stations, additionally, and businesses are conceding to Trump and MAGA's demands as far as how journalists are supposed to cover this administration and as far as the way that businesses are supposed to conduct their business in a way that is amenable to the administration. The Democrats are letting all of this happen, right? They're being so complicit. They're being so completely polite to the point that it is ineffective and embarrassing. They're not governing effectively anymore. At least Representative Green tried something. Shout out to Houston. Thank you very much. Lauren Boebert can make a racist comment about his pimp cane because let's be real, if he was white, she would not have called it a pimp cane. But who cares? Like, we have much bigger fights on our hands right now, whether or not the Democrats want to acknowledge it, whether or not they want to do their jobs and fight for progress in this country and protection against authoritarianism. If this government collapses, it'll be because the people who could have and should have done more to prevent the collapse were too polite to just do their jobs. We need fighters in Congress. And I think personally what Hakeem Jeffries did and said is more unforgivable than what Representative Green did. Lauren Boebert even pointed out that when she heckled President Biden, at least she had the support of her Republican Party. Green doesn't even have that.
Well said.